Good morning, students. Today we are going to start our lesson, that is decolonization in the Africa, Ghana and Kenya. So this lesson we are going to start today, as we had already completed the non-alignment movement foreign policies. As in the early years, we all know that European countries were active for possessions of the African colonies and countries. From very beginning, we all know that Europeans were very active to control the African colonies and countries for special interest of raw materials and slavery, because of slaveries which was going on in Africa, and for commercial purposes also. So what was the net result of it? You are going, as ISC is giving you this part to study, and Asia China part is deleted, Africa part is there. For a long time the Europeans countries were active for possessing the African, mainly for commercial purposes. During scramble for African in the late 19th century, Britain and France had the largest holdings, but Germany, Spain, Italy, Belgium and Portugal had also colonies there. As a result of colonialism, what happened? Africa lost not only its sovereignty but also its natural resources like gold and rubber. For this, British government increasingly interfered in the affairs of the politics of coastal Africa. In 1821, what happened? The British government took control of the Gold Coast possessions from a private African company of merchants. In 1844, the most numerous of the coastal people rulers signed an agreement with the British. Thus, in this situation, it became the legal stepping stone to the colonial status for the coastal areas. The Ashantis, who lived in central Ghana, led a number of incursions which threatened the commercial interests of Britain. The British forces fought a number of battles with them, and ultimately the Ashanti state lost power and prestige. In Gold Coast in 1920s, Britain introduced indirect rule to traditional authorities. During the Second World War, the British African colonies fought for the Allies against the Axis powers. In the Atlantic Charter, there was one provision for the autonomy to the imperial colonies. After the Second World War, the US and the African colonies put pressure on Britain to abide by the terms of the Atlantic Charter. When Churchill introduced the charter to the Parliament, the purposely main translated part of the colonies recently captured the countries, like Germany. Thus, in order to get it passed after the Second World War, the African nationalism spread rapidly because more and more African students were educated in Britain and USA. There they felt the pinch of racial discrimination. Colonialism was seen as humiliation and exploitation of the blacks by the white community. Naturally, after returning from abroad, they agitated for the independence and withdrawal of the colonial rule. In the Gold Coast, with the nationalist movement when started, in 1920s, when Britain introduced indirect rule to traditional authorities, opposition of nationalists began. During 1940s, the movement gained momentum for independence after the police opened fire in Accra, the capital of Ghana, on a position of ex-servicemen. They were carrying peacefully a petition to the governor to seek redress of their grievances. During this time, Joseph Danquo and other leading nationalists founded the United Gold Coast Convention in August 1947 and invited Nkrumah to lead the campaign. Nkrumah led the campaign for representative self-government, but Nkrumah and Danquo were ultimately arrested and jailed after the troops fired on demonstrators and a riot erupted. In 1949, the Convention of People's Party (CPP) led by Nkrumah organized the workers and the farmers for the first time in a mass movement for independence. Thus, a new constitution was proposed by Nkrumah to provide direct election for universal suffrage. But this was opposed by National Liberation Movement led by Govi Buzia, and NLM opposed CPP for its limitation of the powers of tribal chiefs. Thus, NLM now wanted to establish a federal state with regional governments. Thus, in 1954, established a cabinet comprised of the African ministers that were drawn from the all African legislatures, chosen by direct election. In the election, CPP won the majority seat in the new Legislative Assembly. Prime Minister Nkrumah, Gold Coast Convention which was going on, government issued a white paper containing proposals for the Gold Coast independence in May 1956. The British government now agreed for independence when majority of British residents voted for unification with an independent Gold Coast. On 6th March 1957, the state of Ghana, named after medieval West African Empire, became an independent country with the Commonwealth of the nations. Thus, the rule of Nkrumah started, which was not so supportive for the people. Was the first Prime Minister of Ghana. He was born in 1909 and became a teacher. He completed his Bachelor of Arts in 1939 and MA in Philosophy in 1942 from University of Pennsylvania. He returned to London and founded the West African National Secretariat, thus to work it in a proper with decolonization of Africa. They wanted the colonies to be decolonized, and a socialist in outlook wanted industrialize the country, wanted to develop the country, but the financial status did not support so. As a leader of the government, Nkrumah faced a number of challenges also. First, to learn how to govern, second, how to unify in the Gold Coast, and third, to win his nation's complete independence from the United Kingdom. Thus, Nkrumah was successful in all three goals. On 6 March 1960, he declared Ghana independent. The country became a Commonwealth realm. The new draft of constitution made a provision to surrender the Ghanaian and the sovereignty to a union or African states. The constitution was ratified and Nkrumah was elected president of the country. Thus, under this leadership, the country adopted some socialist policies. He created a welfare system. Main export of Ghana was cocoa and its production doubled. Forestry, fishing and cattle breeding expanded rapidly. Thus, government funds were also spent for the village projects in which the village people built roads and schools. Free health care and education was introduced. And Nkrumah also gained prestige internationally. He strongly supported the Pan-African movement and also supported the organization of the African Unity, which was set up in 1963 for maintaining foreign links with USSR and China. Thus, Nkrumah tried to introduce industrialization very quickly, and for this he borrowed huge amount of capitals from abroad, hoping to balance the budget from increased exports. He reasoned that if Ghana escaped the colonial trade system by reducing dependence on foreign capital and technologies. Thus, till this topic you read the lesson, students. In the next class we are going to continue, but in today's worksheet I have given you on the foreign policies. On the foreign policies, few short questions I have given you. Practice those. On that only. Till now those are important questions to study from the lesson. So the Indians foreign policies part is completed, and we have entered into the decolonization of Africa, and in this part you have to read. Till this much you read. In the next class I will give you the questions related to it. Okay, so read till, I am not going beyond this part, so short part only read it. Foreign policies already we have revised, so till this part, till today's video class I am explaining you short only, because on this worksheet I will give, and then again I will revise this part and enter into the next topic. Okay, thank you.